You said woke. I don't want to talk about woke. I'm always fucking with the woke. The woke hate me more than anybody for good reason.
So here we got Bill Maher and Andrew Schultz. Bill Maher's podcast called Club Random. He has Andrew Schultz on as a special guest, and kind of goes crazy with the woke. How he says the woke fucking hate him. He's their number one hater. And let's see what unravels and what leads to him, how he explains on why the woke hates him so much.
When I stick the knife into them when they deserve it, it goes right to the bone, which it should, because they don't believe in it either. So here's a case where, yes, emotionally, because I'm a supporter of Israel, I would like to see this guy out of the country. No, you can't just throw people out because you don't like their speech.
Especially if you give them or you grant them some form of, I don't know if he had a citizenship, maybe a visa or something like that, but you're essentially giving this
green card.
He has a green card. So if he has a green card, you're giving them the opportunities to be an American, exist as an American for this amount of years.
But if you have the green card, you do have the same rights as an American citizen.
That's what I'm saying.
You're right. Okay.
So we have to give that person those rights.
You have to.
As annoying as that is.
As annoying as it is.
You probably should have looked into his resume before you gave him the green card.
Because that's always what, and it's very hard to, I would say not more than 20% of the people in this country can you get on that opinion. Everybody else is just always going to go right to defending the speech of the people they like.
Yes, this is what we constantly do. We're hypocrites, but like...
Such hypocrites.
But this is the thing, we have to like... This is where it gets frustrating, these arguments, is like, if we know we're hypocrites, we can't cry about it. We have to meet people where they are.
Correct.
Right? So like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen on Twitter, like everybody's talking about, Israel, and like it seems like there's waning support in America for Israel.
Oh, absolutely.
So here's an example which you hear people say all the time. Like obviously the politicians have no clue how to communicate, most of them, and they're just like, well, this is our closest ally, and then you get asked why, and they go, oh, they don't know, because they're just being told that they're the closest ally.
Well, closest ally in the Middle East.
Regardless of what it is. It's like, I think...
that's very important. They're the closest ally in the Middle East because they're the only country in the entire Middle East that anyone in this country, these fucking hypocrites, would even survive for a week in. You wouldn't want to live.
I don't know if that's true anymore. Like the UAE, I've been to Abu Dhabi.
The UAE is not the Muslim world. If you're talking about
But they're
Dubai,
in the Middle East. That's what you're talking about.
But you're talking about a tiny, tiny percentage of what typical life is like in 60 Muslim countries. You're talking about a little enclave that they carved out so Westerners could come and spend their money.
Right.
We're talking about far less than 1% of the way life is like. You would not want to live even in a moderate country like Jordan. And your wife certainly wouldn't enjoy living there.
Yeah.
Okay?
You're making logical points.
Well, these are factual points.
Yeah, sure, they're factual. But,
they are.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's like, I gave you another option that is true.
Well, but it's...
I think, matter of fact, I would even argue that life is more relatable to the average American in the UAE or in Dubai than it is in...
Again, but it's a disingenuous argument.
Why is it disingenuous?
Because I just told you.
You said you can't live there, and I was like, here's another place.
Because it's not typical. I said the entire Middle East. So if I... Okay, so look, here...
Okay.
Here's the thing. Here. All
right.
If I say, you have to move somewhere in America, and I'm going to throw a dart at a map with a blindfold on, and... Could you survive anywhere else in America where you absolutely could. You could live in Salt Lake City. You could live anywhere in America. If I throw a dart at a map of the entire, all 60 Muslim majority countries, will you say you'll live there?
I could survive in every single one of them.
You couldn't.
How no?
What?
How could I not? I'm not a gay guy. I could live in any single one of them.
In Kabul, your wife would have to wear a head-to-toe burqa every...
That's on her.
Okay.
You're talking about me surviving. You're like, I could live very comfortably in every single country. Like, again, let's not move the goalposts. You're asking if I could live comfortably.
You could live with yourself knowing that that's how women are treated in your world.
I hate this moral argument. Like, we give a fuck about...
All right, so Bill Maher kind of is annihilating Andrew Schultz, trying to call him on his bullshit. He tells Andrew Schultz how he won't be able to live and everywhere else around the world. I mean, everywhere else around the world isn't America. You know, we got a lot of freedom over here. And those parts of the world, you know, got a lot of restrictions. You know, Andrew Schultz likes to do some pretty wild things that aren't allowed over there, that are allowed here. And Bill Maher just basically calling him in on the shit. You know, just admit to yourself, like it's okay to say that you can't make it everywhere else in the world. I'm pretty sure if you throw Andrew Schultz inside the Arctic, he ain't gonna survive that. You know, or inside the jungle, he might not make it out. So I kind of agree with Bill Maher kind of calling him out and shit right now.
What you say. I could live
Yeah.
easily in
Okay.
every single one of the countries outside of the wars that are existing. But you're saying in peacetime?
Easily?
Easily. You live easily.
You could easily live in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Is there war happening? Is the Taliban doing their thing?
No war. No war.
So
the war's over.
War's over? I could kick it in Kabul for a month easy. Enjoying life. Now, am I doing stand-up every night? No. But could I take a little vacation?
I don't know if you're kidding with me.
I'm just telling you, I think
I'll give you two options. Either you're kidding or this is stupid.
Well, that's this pretentious ass
it's
shit.
It's not pretentious.
You're doing the thing that
it's not pretentious.
You are doing the
that
thing.
You could live in Kabul and be happy, or get by, or you could be no big deal.
You're doing this thing that gets.
It's not virtue signaling to say.
I didn't say virtue signaling. But that is, if you don't agree with me, you're dumb, is why Trump is elected. And this is what Democrats do.
Yeah, but sometimes dumb is dumb.
Yeah, but people are dumb. So deal with that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, stop acting like everybody's smart. Like, this is the problem, is like...
You know, I don't think that's the reason why Trump won. I think just the Biden administration, they just fucked everything up. It was really bad under Biden. I think people just got tired of that, and they just needed to change. And I think that's why one of the reasons... matter of fact, I think that was the major reason on why he won. And the fact, you know, they are the same, you know, people are stupid, some people just are stupid. But I don't think that played a major part. I think it's just all the messed up things that the administration behind Trump did. They just called for change.
I know you feel like you want this, but you don't really want this. And if you disagree with me, you're an idiot. Then all of a sudden they go, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm voting for that one. It's very simple.
Yeah, that's true too.
So we can't speak down to people if we know that they're going to react emotionally. I guess what I'm trying to say is, even with the for example, the Israel conversation, right? So if I know people are reacting emotionally to this, right? Who is the burden on, if we have this deep connection with Israel, which I believe we do, right? I think the burden is on Israel to prove to the American people, who definitely they rely on for support in this conflict. I think that the burden is on them to communicate to the American people why it's advantageous to America to continue to support them. Like, and if they can't communicate a reason, you can't be upset at the American people for being confused about it. We have that same energy towards Ukraine. We go, wait a minute, they're getting how many $1 billion? Okay, over here, if eggs were cheap, I don't care about where you throw the money. But once eggs get expensive, I start going, where's the money going? $200 million going over there? So when economic times are very difficult here in America, or any country in the world, there's going to be some questions asked about where this money is going.
As there should be.
As they should be. I think it's a very normal thing. And unfortunately for Jews, when economic times turn shitty in countries, people start looking and they go, I think it might be their fault.
But why is that throughout history?
Because there's an ambient energy towards Jews. This is just my opinion, but there's ambient energy
so
towards
well
Jews.
Put. What a great phrase, an ambient energy. You're so right.
Because it's not a bright light bulb.
Right.
It's a small one. And and it comes from the fact that, like, most people don't know Jews. They've never met a Jew. They have no fucking clue. They think Jews are like Jerry Seinfeld. They have no clue that there's Sephardic Jews. They have no clue that there's these African Jews. Like,
try being one in Kabul, Afghanistan.
It's probably difficult. So, like, they just don't understand what it is, right? They've never met one.
Right.
They only know the stereotypes. And I think they kind of almost like lock up Jews into this similar ilk as like the Rockefellers or the Vanderbilts. They think they're these elitist people. I don't think Jews even realize that. Because I think not all Jews are going, yeah, we're rich and we have all this money. They're just going, I think a lot of Jews in the Northeast are looking at the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts going, that's some pretty cool shit. I mean, Ralph Lauren definitely was like, hey, that WASP stuff, that's pretty cool. I want to do that.
Right.
Right? There's like an envy of the WASPs in the Northeast from the Jews, I feel like, almost. I mean, I feel like they admire it. Anyway, the average person is looking at them as like these elites that they can't touch. And I think that there's like religious teachings that see like this separatism. It's like they're not trying to proselytize. Why don't they care if I go to heaven? Why? Like my whole life is about trying to get as many people to go to heaven as I possibly can, but like they don't care. Like what? I think it's just hard for them to get. And this ambient light that has this like kind of like these like negative stereotypes they own or control. And when the economy's good, I don't give a fuck. I don't care if you're sending US aid to do tranny plays in fucking Pakistan. I don't care. But the second I can't afford eggs, I go, no more tranny plays. And why does that group of people seem to have a lot of power?
You know, Andrew Schultz has a very compelling argument. You know, he says that when everything good is happening, we don't care what's happening everywhere else. And like he was saying about the prices of eggs, if the prices of eggs are good, we don't care what money they're sending out towards transvestite studies and all this other stuff. But personally, I think I still care where the money is going because we got to take care of home first. You know, like we just look at Doge and what's going on, how much corrupt things have they found so far, like money being to study transgender rats. Like, why the fuck we spending money on studies on rats being gay or stuff like that? Or money that they found of Social Security being sent to kids that are 6 months old. They haven't even worked the full life yet. And they're getting money? Like, no.